Well, well, look at what the cat drug in.
Dean Ramsey, this is Jason.
Yeah, I know. We've met. We're old pals. Aren't we, Jason? How's it going, buddy? Stay out of the way, punk. She's mine. I didn't see a ring, did I? Are you thick? Her brother's my sensei. She's spoken for. By me. Nobody wants you here. We'll see about that. Just back off, Dean. Get out of my face. I told you not to stay.
Stop it, Dean! Don't hurt him!
Hear that, punk? She knows who's the best.
No! Stop it!
Get out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dale Jacoby, the man, the myth, the legend. Just kidding, but not really. I was just blessed to be on the $2 late fee show with Zak, and it was unbelievable. He knows his stuff because he fact-checked me, and he's got it all there, and I couldn't lie about nothing. He's real. It was fun. Please check out the episode. You won't be sorry. More to come.
Dale Jacoby, it is an honor to have you on $2 late fee with me.
My pleasure, buddy. My pleasure.
So a little backstory. My co-host Dustin, who is taking a sabbatical, flashed back to like 4 years ago, I think. And we wanted to do a theme for our show. You know, we're an 80s and 90s movie podcast.
My time.
Yeah, it's your time, man. And we wanted to do something fun in March because he's a big NCAA basketball guy. And I said, why don't we do like Martial Arts Madness? He's like, why don't we call it March-ial Arts Madness? And we started kind of combing through guests that we thought would be fun to have on the show. And we had Kurt McKinney come on for our inaugural March-ial Arts Madness to talk about No Retreat, No Surrender. Here we are, 4 or 5 years later. And Oliver Harper came out and he's making a documentary about No Retreat, No Surrender 40 years later.
Yeah, I just did my episode.
Oh,
my little segment, on it.
Perfect. Yeah, it just got fully funded. And I take a little bit of credit for that because the minute I posted the interviews that I did with Kurt and JW Fails, next thing you know, I see the dollars ticking up on the Kickstarter or whatever it is. And then you reached out and I'm like, I got to get Dale Jacoby on the show. I have to get Dale on to talk about No Retreat, his career, martial arts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So having you on, it's the long-winded way of saying it's a big deal to have you on the show.
Well, let's talk about everything I love. And there's not much I don't love. Martial arts is my passage to life. It's my life. It's my being. It's my spirit. It's really the only thing I know. I tell people that a man is lucky that in his life, if he is worked at what he loves truly, then he's really never worked a day in his life. So I have never worked a day in my life because martial arts is my passion. It's my will. It's my desire. I go to bed thinking about martial arts. I wake up thinking about martial arts. I gave up could have been a lucrative professional boxing career because I wanted to do martial arts.
First of all, amen to that. If you do what you love, it's not work ultimately.
Not
right?
work.
And I have a motto. I've followed it for decades. Joseph Campbell, who's an inspiration to me, says, follow your bliss, do what brings you joy and it will bring others joy as well. And, so that is a beautiful thing. Let's talk about martial arts. Like what was that moment where you're like, this is something I want to start exploring?
Well, it's a story. You want to hear the story?
I want to hear the story. That's why you're here, to tell the story.
The story goes like this. I was born in a middle class neighborhood, right? 98% white. Just that old cliche. And I guess at 12 years old, I'm 6'1", almost like 6'1.5". I was 6 foot at 12 years old.
Wow.
So they thought I was going to be like a giant. So I was, I was big, but I was skinny. So I I played baseball and I played basketball, and I was, I was somewhat of a decent athlete. So never been in a fight, never been in an altercation, didn't know what a fight was. Closest I got to a fight was watching the fights. We lived in a building, and it had subterranean parking, and this family moved in, and they were a bunch of, what's the word I'm looking, to be honest, white trash.
Yeah.
So it was a father and four brothers, two twins and two older ones.
Okay.
So they parked in my dad's stall, and my dad was in a hurry. He said, "Son, go down there and ask them to, can they move their car?"
Yeah.
So I knock on the door, and the older brother, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, you're in my dad's stall." "Oh,
Oh, no.
my dad's in your dad's." Yeah, yeah. So him and his two brothers are twins. They walked me out, and we're in the parking lot of the subterranean parking lot. And he goes, "Is your dad's that big Jew canoe?"
Oh no.
So now welcome to racism, anti-Semitism.
Right.
I'm like, and I'm a Jew, and I'm a proud Jew, and anybody who don't like it, they know where they can go.
Right.
But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
I was like, huh? I'd never been in a confrontation.
Right.
All of a sudden, the big brother grabbed me, and he's holding me, and he says to the other two, beat him up. And they're hitting me, and they're kicking me, and they're laughing. And I was crying.
Oh my God.
They throw me on the ground. I run upstairs. My dad, I'm crying. And my dad's like, so my dad was a man's man. My dad grew up during the Depression on the south side of Chicago. He had 15 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
He slept in a three-room flat, a flat. There was 3 rooms.
Right.
He slept on a king-size bed with 4 brothers. So he looked at me and goes, and he went downstairs and just went crazy. Anyways, came up and he says, "That's it. You're starting a martial arts tomorrow." I'm like,
Oh my God.
I looked at him and I go, "Dad, what's martial arts?"
Right.
So he took me to a place called Tracy's Karate in 1982, I believe it was 1982.
Wow.
And him and my mother, they walked me in there, and I was like, oh my God. Now we lived in the Valley. This was on Sunset Boulevard
But
in Hollywood.
Let me pause you for a second though. What happened with your dad and those kids?
Well, apparently my dad might have just, my dad was, he was like a wise guy. He had the pinky ring, and he had that voice, and
Yeah.
he might have, I will neither confirm nor deny, he might have slapped the taste out of the dad's mouth. I don't know.
It's fair.
Anyways,
It's fair.
so we walk into this studio, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like, oh, okay. And this very jolly sensei, his name was Louis Chavez. I'll never forget it. He walks up and he starts talking. Now, Tracy's Karate, for those, I don't know if they know, this one was half owned by Joe Louis. You heard of Joe Louis?
Oh yeah, of course.
One of the best karate fighters of all time, the Golden Boy.
Yeah.
And I forget the other gentleman's name. So Sensei Louis started talking, and we told him the story. He goes, "Bring him back. We got it." And I was there for about 6 months, and I really excelled in it, and I liked it, and but I knew then, like, this isn't, it's like, it's not right. It's not where I want to be.
Yeah.
And so my dad owned a trucking business, and his partner was a lawyer and a doctor. He was an ambulance chaser. He did it. He had it on both ends. So him and my dad were talking, and he says, "Hey, there's this guy. His name is Cecil Peoples. Cecil Peoples is a very highly regarded martial artist.
Okay. Yeah.
Was a UFC referee. He was an unbelievable fighter. So walked into Cecil's. And I walk into the studio, and as soon as I walked in that studio, I was like, okay, this is real now.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little kid. I see this big, scary black dude with a big, big bamboo stick. And he's walking around there, and he's
God.
hitting these guys in the ankles. He's hitting these guys in the ankles on their shoulders because it was a hard tempo style. And and they're all like, yeah, sensei. And I'm like, okay, mom, dad, we need to go.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Cecil came up to us. He expected me, and he was very stern, and I was scared shitless, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet.
And
My God.
so he goes, get in the class. I'm like, what? He goes, get in the class. I get in the class, and I'm like thinking to myself, about to get hit with this stick.
Right.
It was a reality check. So I found my home. I was, I don't know, 13, 14, no, 34. I don't even remember how old I was.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. So I was with Cecil 2.5 years. My dad was moving to Vegas. So my dad his best friend was chief of operations at a hotel called the Stardust in Vegas,
Okay. Yeah.
which they were out of Chicago.
Old school.
So my dad lost the business. My dad lost the business, and he goes, "Okay, Dickie, we'll make you a casino host."
Okay.
So we moved to Vegas. So my mom said to Cecil, "Where should he go?" This is my journey in martial arts, to be blessed, to be with the best. And anybody out there, fact check or look up the names I'm saying.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
says, I have a friend there. His name is John Natividad. You ever heard of John Natividad?
No.
John Natividad was a Chuck Norris black belt, but at that time he was the top tournament fighter in the world.
Okay.
Unbelievable fighter. So we moved there. So I start training with Mr. Natividad. And first place I ever seen bodily injury. I was on the mat, and these two guys are sparring, and this one dude gets kicked in the eye, and his eyeball goes right out of his eye.
Oh my
His
God.
eyeball landed on the mat with the tentacles, and
Oh my
I'll never forget it.
God.
It was traumatizing. So they put it in ice, and we went to Desert Hospital.
Wow.
Anyway, so I was there for about a year, and I excelled. So my dad says, we're moving back to LA. So my
Okay.
mom and grandmother go to Mr. Natividad. We're moving back to LA. He goes, listen, Dale's going to be a champion. You need to get him with the best. There's a good friend of mine there. His name is Benny the Jet Ukitas. You know who Benny the Jet is?
Of course I do. Yeah.
So this is the culture shocks of this. So we get back there. Benny was teaching out of the YMCA in San Fernando, California.
Okay.
For those of you who aren't familiar with San Fernando. So we walk into the YMCA, my mother and my grandmother. We walk in, and this little appeared to be meek gentleman walked up with long hair and goes, can I help you?
Yeah.
We're looking for Benny. And he goes, I'm Benny. And my mom looked at each other, and they're like, you're Benny? It was like at a roadhouse. We thought you'd be taller.
Right. Yeah, because Benny's like, what, 5'6" or 7?
4, 5.
Yeah.
He goes, yes, I was told. And we get talking, and
No.
he goes, okay. He takes me. Now it was in a basketball court, so it was hard wood.
Yeah.
So I trained there my first night, and I did pretty good. And that was it.
You didn't lose an eye?
This was 1980. I didn't lose an eye. This was 1984, 1985.
Okay.
And I found my home, and that, those little things along the way, my experiences, they transposed me into who I am, who I was supposed to be.
Totally.
They made me a warrior. Let me jump back. So I teach a lot of kids. about bullying, and I do a lot of seminars on bullying because it's very near and dear to me. Because I tell people I was bullied. Like I was bullied one time, but I was bullied. It traumatized me.
It only takes that one time, by the way. Yeah.
That's all it did, and they look so big and mean. Let me tell you. Let me end this story. So, this guy Louis Chavez, who was a sensei, says, "Let that fuel you. Let that make your fire go." So every day I trained about the day that I was going to get these guys and I was going to kill them and I would beat them up,
Of course,
and do all this stuff. And so moving on, I was 20 years old. I was already a first or second degree black belt. I already was a professional fighter. And we were at a party in Malibu at Ryan O'Neill's, but it was Tatum O'Neill's party. It was in the Colony. And it had like 3 levels. We were on the top level facing the ocean. And I'm leaning against there with my brother and my best friend. And I was like, what the hell? It was the 3 brothers.
No.
For whatever reason.
No way.
It was the 3 brothers.
From
my
the
heart started pumping, my adrenaline, the veins. Yes, from the subterranean parking. So I'm thinking, I go to them, go downstairs, leave. They're like, what? I go, just leave. My brother had an idea. So they go down, thumbsing them up, and I'm like, and now I'm thinking to myself, they don't look so big and scary. But okay. So they're making their way towards me. So the one, and I'll never forget this. This was a change in my life. This, again, it helped make me who I am.
Yeah.
So he got close and I went, boom, and I bumped him in his shoulder and he went like this. This is exactly what he did. He went, eh. So at that moment, I was like, Dale Jacoby, you won. You won. And I looked at the big brother and I looked him in the eye and I mad dogged him. I said, hey, I went like this. Do you know me? Do you know me? He went, no. And an epiphany came over me. And I was like, I was resurrected. I was like, I felt it. And I was like, dude, I won. I don't have to do nothing. And then I went oh, to him and he jumped out of it and I patted him on the shoulder and I said, have a nice night. Wow. I was done. Like I didn't have to do nothing. My journey of who I was with, of who got in my mind mentally, spiritually, physically, brought me to that moment in time to have that I didn't have to do anything. I won. So yeah, that's how I got into the martial arts.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I'm kind of speechless because it's
a true story.
Amazing.
Like, man, it's like one day I'm gonna write a book because I have stories. Like in the 80s and 90s, that whole scene, I was in the shit. I have stories that are like, I want to do it, like, and when I sit and reflect. Yeah. So today's my birthday.
Yeah. And, happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
And happy St. Patrick's Day. We're recording on St. Patrick's Day as well.
Yeah. So, and I don't have an ounce of green on me. Go figure.
Well, if you got money in your wallet, then you're good. So
I don't have none of that neither. I was born, see, I had that problem. I was born good looking. Look at this, not rich.
Hey, everyone else is green with envy around you.
So I'm thinking to myself, I'm sitting on my bed and I'm like, you're truly blessed. Why am I truly blessed? Because I've lived a life that most people dream about.
Right.
I did things that most people dream about. I've raised 2 beautiful children. I have 3 beautiful granddaughters. Yes, I'm a grandfather.
God
I'm
bless
blessed.
you.
Like I'm blessed. Like it could, like, if somebody was to write a movie, this would have been the perfect movie. Like this would have been the perfect movie. So it's like I'm truly blessed. And when people start thinking about what they don't have or what they should have, think about what you do have.
Absolutely. I mean, you're hitting upon something, whether it's 2025 or whether it's 2001,
1985.
Doesn't, like the idea of appreciating what you have versus what you want, and the attitude of having attitude and gratitude,
100. What's that old thing? Sometimes you have to, you got to stop and smell the flowers, the roses. You have to, or all that, like all that just will pass you by. And the thing about life is, what I learn and what I know is, you can get back a lot of things, but you can never get back time lost
No.
or time spent. You
Right.
can't get that back. So you almost have to live in the moment. Like,
Yeah.
you have to live in the moment, because that moment's only here for a moment. So you
Yeah.
got to live in the moment.
Well, I mean, again, that's the appreciation of having you on the show. And did you ever see those guys again after that?
No, no, and so when I tell this to my kids, when I do my bully stuff, they're
Yeah.
like, "Sensei, coach, that no, come on." I'm like, "No, that really, like, that really happened." And again,
Yeah.
like I said in the beginning, all that led me to here and now, made me who I
It's
am,
amazing.
gave me what I want, showed me the way, showed me the light.
Right.
Had that not happened, I would not be. I would have been Joe Schmo selling shoes.
Right.
So instead, I am who I am. Not that I'm anybody, but I'm somebody to me. And I like to think that I'm a beacon of light in the world, and that I have a shining light, and I do more good in the world than I do harm. And I've helped more people than, you can imagine. So to me, that is my gift to the world, and that makes me happy. Like, that really makes me happy.
It's
Like,
really special. It's really special. And I think what it probably, I'm assuming, and I want to talk about that, it fuels your ability to play a bully type character,
oh,
right?
wait till we get into that. Wait till you hear the stories about that. Yeah, no, and that's exactly. So if we talk about acting, I was blessed, and we'll hit on that, to even do acting, because I didn't want to. It fell in my lap. But the thing about it is, acting is your alter ego. It's something you're
Totally.
not, or something you want to be.
Right.
And yes, like, so my characters that I portrayed are something that I'm not, but it was my alter ego. It made me be that dude with the swag, the dude that you love to hate, that asshole, that prick. And I was telling you, I get 50 emails a week on the character of Dean Ramsey from No Retreat, No Surrender. And they're all love the character, how that character made the movie, but how that character was an asshole. But it's like, you like, man, that guy's cool. Like, I love that. So yeah, or else I would have never been that character. I would have been the meek. I would have been the meek voice in the background. I would have
Right.
been the person who stands in the shadows, who doesn't step up to the plate because he's insecure, he was bullied, or he's head tripping. Instead, that didn't happen because of the experiences I had in life, made me be able to exuberate that character and make that character me. Like, I can really act like, I don't have to be like an asshole, but I can really act like an asshole,
Yeah.
and just do them shit moves. Yeah. Yeah, really.
Well, that's the whole
Yeah.
idea about acting. It's you're playing a part, you're playing a role. When I'm a voice actor and I've been doing it for many years, and I have a great voice teacher who equated it back to when you're playing with toys as a kid, right? And you're playing with your Star Wars toys, and you've got Luke Skywalker and you've got Darth Vader. And when you're Luke Skywalker, it's not you playing as Luke Skywalker when you're a kid. You are Luke Skywalker, right? And it's not you playing with Darth Vader. You are Darth Vader. So as a kid, we tap into that idea of like what it's like to play a role, become that character. But you also are affected by all the things that happen in your life. So here you are as a young kid who got traumatized by these punks. You had that comeuppance, but obviously you had to channel that into a character like Dean or a character like Brad in Ring of Fire.
So you've watched both movies. I want you to,
Oh yeah,
here's some homework, and I tell this to everybody.
I have a Ring of Fire poster right there.
That's actually my favorite movie. I love Don Wilson. Like, anyways,
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
go back and watch No Retreat, No Surrender, and watch Ring of Fire. Dean Ramsey is Brad, and Brad is Dean. It's just a different name. It's the same character. It's the same character, the same smartass, the same smirk.
Yeah.
And there's a movie I did. There's a movie I did with Benny called Bloodmatch.
Right. I love that movie. I talked to Tom Matthews about that
That
movie.
I love Tom too. That movie is Dean and Brad on steroids.
Yeah.
So, but it's the same character, just with a different name. They say, what do they call it? Same shit, just a different toilet. And
Right.
so, and that is kind of what it equates to. Like, yeah, so that's it.
I have to share something with you before I forget. There's a guy named Martin Go. He has a company called Preserve Dragons where he illustrates and makes beautiful illustrations of martial art characters, right, from movies that he loves. And I've had Don the Dragon Wilson on my show a couple times, and Cynthia Rothrock, who's a good friend of mine. And we talked about Ring of Fire, and Preserve Dragons made a masquerade ball, like program
Oh my God.
from,
What a great
it says
scene that was.
Venice Beach, California in 1991. This is a trip. No one's ever seen this, by the way, except for Don Wilson. And then you open up this, it's a card. It's a card. You open it up and it becomes the diorama of the scene in the movie.
Oh shit, how could I get that?
I will make sure you get one of these.
Oh my God, I just got the chills. Oh my God. Let's talk about that scene. So me and Vinny,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Ring of Fire, by the way, 1991. And it says at the bottom, it
So
says, like a mountain, lily, love grows in rocky terrain.
me and Vinny were like, are we really about to dress up like that? I'm like, listen, we got to do what we got to do. Let's both take one for the team. Oh my God. I would so love that if you could get it for me,
Yeah, I will
please.
talk to Martin and we will make sure that happens
Oh
because,
my
yeah,
God. I'll autograph one for him.
cool.
Oh my God. I would love that.
Yeah, for everyone wondering, you got to go to our YouTube and watch this interview because I'll show the pictures on there. But anyways, Ring of Fire, Ring of Fire. Yeah, so I mean, look, I don't want to talk too much about No Retreat, No Surrender, which because there's a
That's what
documentary
everybody
coming out.
does. Exactly. Let's talk about Ring of Fire.
I want to.
So working with a man like Tom Wilson, our fight scene, we're both fighters. He said to me, hey, let's make it look real. Let's go full contact from the waist down and really
Whoa.
from the chin down and really hit each other. And just, I'm like, oh, yes, let's go. And the fight scene looked so real. It was so much fun. That's what happens when you work with a fighter and
Right.
somebody who can take it and they know how to. We know how the body reacts when you get hit, and it just flowed good. But that movie, who Ron Yuan is.
Yeah, of course.
So Ronnie used to live next door to me. Me and Ronnie, I got Ronnie on Ring of Fire. So
Amazing.
that's how. So everybody in that movie, like we were all, it was very like a lot of camaraderie, friends. Like it was like really, it was really cool. And working for PM Entertainment, like I did, I don't know, 10 movies for PM Entertainment. But that was a great experience, and it was fun, and the movie. So FYI, they can fact check this. This is something I never told anybody.
Oh, cool. Exclusive.
The director of that movie was from Chicago. My mother and father used to have poker games with people from Chicago. They played 24 hours straight.
Okay.
He used to come to the poker games at my house and
We're talking about
play with
Richard
my
Munchkin,
mom and
right?
dad. Richard Munchkin. They called him Munch. And he looked at me and goes, are you kidding me? He goes, you're about to be in my movie. I'm like, what? Is that not crazy?
Wait a
I
minute.
was in his movie.
But you got cast separately from that connection then.
No, yes, I got cast separately. They called me for the role. And Richard, they saw a tape I did, and Richard watched it. He was like, oh my God. And he came there and goes, Dale, you're about to be in my movie.
That's
I'm
wild.
like, Ring of Fire is your movie? He goes, yeah, that's my movie. He goes, is that like,
Dude.
When Worlds Collide?
Yeah.
He used to play, and his brother. So they used to play with my mom and dad. They used to have cutthroat poker games that would go 24, 36 hours. When we used
Wow.
to be there.
Wow. That's a trip. That is a
No,
trip.
yeah, and again, let me reiterate. No, I had the movie before he even knew it, so he had nothing to do with it, which even makes it cooler.
Yeah, it totally
Go
does.
go figure.
Wow. So, okay.
Nobody
So
knows that.
that, oh, well,
Nobody
I
knows
mean,
that.
people know that now, and that is the exclude. That's why $2
Yeah.
late fee is the place to be. I'm just saying. Anyways,
No, no one's ever asked me because everybody always wants to know about Ring of Fire. They want to know what really happened with Petey and Jean-Claude Van Damme. They want to know
oh,
all
and
this. I want
yeah.
to talk about other stuff.
Well, yeah, you know,
You know,
the reality is too, and I really want to. Oliver Harper became a good friend in the process of wanting to having him on the show to talk about the No Retreat doc. I
right?
want everyone to go watch that when it comes out because he's in the middle
Please,
of making it
please,
right now. You can go. I think the Kickstarter,
please.
if the Kickstarter is not available anymore, you can still go on and support it. But that is coming soon.
I think it went off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ring of Fire, you shot that movie. So we had Don on to talk about Ring of Fire as well. He has very fond memories of that
One and
movie.
two. I did one and two.
You
I
did, you
did one and
did.
two.
And did that movie came out in 91, but did you shoot that movie in 91 or like 90?
Yeah. No, 91. And then the other one was 93 or 94 because
Yeah,
my
soon after.
daughter, yeah, because my ex was pregnant with my daughter when we shot the number two,
Okay.
I think. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, that was a great movie.
Yeah,
That was a great movie. Both of them, like the Underground City and, yeah.
totally. I mean, they both have a lot of charm. I think Ring of Fire 2, I think PM movies had an element to that as the sequel always seemed to like improve upon certain scenes, you know?
You know, in that time, there was, when you did those, I mean, I hate to say they were B-rated karate movies, but they were,
Yeah.
whatever. But you either worked with PM or you worked with Roger Corman.
Right.
So Roger and I had several meetings. He was like, Dale, he goes, I want you. He goes, I just like, I want to have a special character for you. And I never, or did I? I don't think I ever worked for Roger Corman.
Did you go to that binocular building in Venice?
Yeah, yeah. That was pretty. That was state of the art for back then.
Oh,
I
totally. Now,
mean, yeah,
now it's a
it was
Google
pretty.
building, apparently. So
Now it's a Google building, which is perfect now.
Joseph Merhi, he's a martial artist, right?
Yeah. Well, they're Israeli. You know, he was, you know, he IDF background, and he was a hardcore dude.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were good. They were cool, and you know, they like, he was like, Dale, like, what do you want to do? So when we did the Ring of Fire fight, me and Don, he let me though choreograph my whole thing,
Oh, cool, cool.
and you know, and I, what I thought looked cool and everything, and then he was very good about that, and it played out, you know, it played out, and it was good. It was fun. It was again, like, it wasn't like work. It was fun, and acting is funny because there's actors who've been chasing it their whole life and haven't did nothing.
Right.
I didn't want to do it. I didn't never care about it. You know, I was like, and I got all these, like, because I knew these people, and it just fell in my lap. Like, I I did the last season of Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
I did three or four episodes. Three or four episodes. Yeah. Aaron Norris called me up, and because he was a stunt coordinator, and he said, Dale, you know, because I kind of look like I should be in prison. You know, I got a shaved head all tagged up, and he goes, we have this part, three, you know, you get three episodes, you're perfect for it. I was like, and Sons of Anarchy was my favorite show. I was like,
Great
oh
show.
yeah, but it's like I wasn't auditioning. I wasn't going out. I wasn't busting my head looking for this. It kind of just fell in my lap. And like, it's like looking for love. When you're looking for love, you're never going to find it. When you sit back, love will find you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was funny. I got a call last week about a reality show that which is, I can't talk a lot about it, but the guy was like, I was looking for your character, and all these people kept throwing your name out there and giving me pictures of you and having me go to your IG. And then I did some fact checking and I called martial arts studios about you. And he goes, I have to say, nobody, nobody had a bad word about you. All they did was praise you about your integrity and what an unbelievable martial artist you are, and that you're that guy. He goes, so, that's what prompted me on you. So, and again, that's what you leave with people. So when you do a movie or you do something, you want to leave that with them. So they're like, yeah, I mess with him again. He did a good job, except for Die Hard 2. They might not want me back.
Well, but you're talking about integrity, which is a really important thing that I think it gets, it's not as, I have a son, he's 10, and integrity is something we talk about all the time. At the end of the day, what reputation do you want to have with people, and this idea, what I'm hearing from you is this theme that you've carried yourself with integrity your whole life.
So and I'm not trying to boast about myself, because when people ask me, I said, you can Google or YouTube. I say, Google or YouTube me. I'm not going to talk about me, but here's something.
Well, I'll talk about you.
Last year, I was inducted into the Martial Arts Museum, and they made a Dale Jacoby Day.
Michael Matsuda, right?
Yes. Oh, look at you. Yes.
I know him.
I had 25 people come up and talk about me. And you know what I got out of that? Everybody had the same thing to say about me. That's when you know you got it right.
Right.
They all had down to my children, all had the same. And I was like, and I got tears rolling down my face. And it's like,
yeah,
it's all about my black belts. And everybody talk about me. It's about your legacy.
Right.
It's about your legacy. And it's like, wow, I created a pretty good legacy, but everybody had the same things to say about my loyalty, my integrity, the way I go out of my being to help people, the way I would give you the shirt off my back, my passion about the martial arts, my love of fighting and still being a fighter. I still hold 4 world titles in the art of sport karate. I still fight and just those things, because I'm still driven. I'm still focused. I still have that fire. And to hear people talk about you like that, it's like, wow. Or you get like, oh, that asshole, he's a piece of shit, he's this, he's that. But no, right. every 25 people, everybody had the same things to say in their own words. So yeah,
that's the way it should be. And I want to let everybody know the Martial Arts Museum is in Burbank, I believe, or is it Glendale now? I think
Glendale
moved.
Now.
Yeah, it moved from Burbank to Glendale. Yeah, highly recommend everyone check it out. Michael Matsuda,
please,
great guy, puts on great events. He puts on Dragon Fest every year, which is a convention.
Look at you. Yes, you know your stuff. Yes.
I do. I've done a little bit of homework. I do want to circle back to your relationship in Ring of Fire with Vince Murdocho. Were you guys friends?
Not till we instantly became friends. Then we did like 4 movies together.
Right.
Yeah, Vince. I talk to Vince all the time. Vince is a great guy. Yes, Vince is a great guy.
So you were talking about. Ring of Fire is a movie that Don holds very near and dear to his heart as well. He's very proud of that movie. And you were saying in that fight scene where you guys went full contact, like you said, did you walk away with some bruised ribs, or talk about that fight scene?
Bruised ribs, but not bruised ribs, everything, but not a bruised heart, because it was unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, it was just being able to work. And again, people, if you don't know Don Wilson, please check him out. He's probably top 5 best kickboxers of all time.
All time, yeah.
He's a true champion, and he's a constant professional. And like when I had to do that with the sword, when I cut my sister,
yeah,
we had it because that was a real sword.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, till we slowed it down, and because they go to slow motion, and then we changed it.
Okay.
So that whole thing had to be really who was the stuntman? It was Chet McKay, I believe.
Okay.
We had to really slow that part down, but up to that, it was no. He kicked me with a back kick. He kicked me through the rope. I mean, and he made contact, but it looked good. It was just it was just more fun to sell, and they let us just do it like we were doing a sharpshooting sparring session, and they just did it
Great.
on a steady cam and followed us, and it looked good, and it was good. Like it was good.
Well, you look good in that too, and you guys can like I showed you earlier on the YouTube or on the video here, you can watch Ring of Fire and you can see Dale in his what do you call that caveman outfit.
I don't know what it was. I don't know, but apparently in the '90s that was the look.
It was the look. You did Bloodmatch with Albert Pune directed that film, and
I love him too. I did 2 movies with him. I did Kickboxer too.
yeah, talk about a little bit about working with Albert Pune. Was it as a director? How was that for you?
It was great. That's a funny story. So, Sasha Mitchell
Sasha Mitchell, yeah.
is one of my best friends.
Oh, cool.
So, I grew up with Sasha. Like, see how everything is connected.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
If Los Angeles has like what 6 million people or something, and everyone knows somebody down here.
I did. Sasha got me that. I did two movies with Sasha, and then I did a television show called Step by Step.
Step by
with
Step,
Sasha.
yeah, yeah.
I had the reoccurring role as the karate instructor, who
Right.
was Dean Ramsey,
Yes, he was.
who was Brad. But at any rate, Albert was a concert professional. I think that was Albert's second or third movie, because his first one, I think, was I forget what it was.
Nemesis or something like that, or
Nemesis.
Cyborg.
Yeah, and then he
as
got
well,
his
right?
break. Cyborg, I think, was after, because that's another story.
Yeah, it is.
It was great. It was great because it was a great dynamics, because Sasha was, I was a liaison. Sasha called me and said, listen, I want you to train me for the movie. I want you to have a heart in the movie. This is when you have a best friend. I want you to train me for the movie. I want you to be on the movie. I want you to choreograph my fight scenes, and I want you to have a part in the movie.
Awesome.
So this was our meeting with Albert Pune at what Road, was it Road? What was it? Shit, the production company. Anyways, yeah. So that was a great experience, and it was, it's the first time I met Gene LaBelle.
Okay. Yeah.
So let me tell you the first time I met Gene LaBelle. Do you know who Gene LaBelle
Oh,
is?
yeah. Also known for the LaBelle lock, right?
So
You're like, I'm getting
a lot of
there.
other good story. So so my sensei and Jimmy Nickerson, who passed away, a big time stunt coordinator,
Mm,
choreographed all the fight stuff
okay.
for Kickboxer. So we're all in the ring. Sasha, probably 10, 15 guys who are going to be fighters in the movie of Kickboxer and everything. So Sensei Ben says, my judo instructor, his name is Judo Gene LaBelle. I don't even know what judo is then.
Yeah,
he's gonna do the strength and conditioning and all the stuff on the movie. Like, okay. So all of a sudden, the Jet Center, the ring was down, and then you walk down to it. So we all glance up, and here's this man. Probably at that time he was in his late 50s, with a pinky and flaming red hair, big red afro.
Oh, really?
And that's the way he was. And he gets in the ring. He goes, hi, everybody. I'm Uncle Gino. And he started hanging out. He started passing out his stickers. So he goes, who gets to spar with me?
Oh, no.
Who gets to spar with me? Who gets to spar with me and really meet Uncle Gino? My sensei, Ben, goes, Dale will. I'm like, okay. I go to my sensei. I go to Benny. Sensei, I don't want to hurt him.
Yeah.
Benny looks at me and goes, don't worry about it. All I remember is he touched my hand. We shook hands. Next thing I knew, I got that hold. He was waking me up.
Wow.
I got it that fast.
Wow.
that fast. He was like, "Ah, now you're my favorite nephew." It was funny. That's how I got to meet judo.
That's
So
hilarious. That is
in the
hilarious.
movie, in the movie, he was a ref. So Tong Po's character
Yep.
had to throw him out of the ring, right? They doubled me, and I played Tong Po in two parts, and I had to throw Gene out of the ring. Now Gene was a big man, and I go to him, Sensei Gene, I hope I can do this. He goes, just do it. I'm like, Sensei Gene. I actually lifted him up and threw him out of the ring.
Oh gosh.
It was funny. It was a great scene. Like, yeah, that was a cool movie. But Albert was, Albert. That was another. It was a great experience because I every important scene, every fight thing Sasha had, I was there, and that's actually how I got Bloodmatch
No kidding.
from that movie.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it was interesting. Like it was interesting again. I said, everything led me to that road. Like it all, like I wasn't looking, I wasn't doing the auditions, and I wasn't doing that. I just got super lucky, super
Yeah,
blessed.
that is so cool.
Let me jump back how this began. This is how No Retreat, No Surrender came about. I'm at the Jet Center 1984. Yeah, 1984. I'm hitting the bag. I look up there. Benny is standing with Keith, the writer. Corey Yoon, you know who Corey is?
Corey Yoon, the
The
director.
man.
Yep.
He's the big time.
Right.
And a couple other people, and they're looking at me. And I'm like, how many people look at me? Benny waves me over. So Keith says to me, have you ever been in a movie? I don't want to be a movie guy. Like, yeah. He goes, I think you'd be good for this movie, and I have a great part for you. I'm like, no, and I'm walking away, and Benny calls me back, and Benny goes, yeah, he'll be in the movie. I didn't even want to do them. I didn't even want to do the movie. Like I
Amazing.
didn't even want to do them. And I got that. I never acted before. I, 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 I was doing modeling. I didn't want to do modeling, but it's a great way to pick up girls. So I was doing modeling, and actually, I had a pretty, like I had a decent run in modeling. Um, so I was like, and that's how the movie started.
That's
Benny made me
amazing.
do it.
That's amazing.
Just go figure. Timing's everything.
Well, as of this recording, you had said that you just recorded some footage for the No Retreat, No Surrender doc. So are you going to be filling that
Yeah,
with stories and whatnot?
actually, my interview, we did at the Martial Arts Museum.
Oh, perfect. Why
Yeah,
wasn't
me
I
and
there?
Matthias.
Oh, really?
You know Matthias?
Matthias Hughes. Yeah.
Matthias.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I did my part there.
That's amazing. But Dale, like this
Yeah.
is, when people say to me, what do you hope for when you have a guest on the show? You you want to hear stories, right? Whatever, whether it's about the movies you do, your life stories. You have filled this time with so much amazing stuff.
Bro, I could do 3 days with you
I'm
and tell you
sure. I'm
stories
sure.
that make you go,
I'm
oh
sure.
shit. We haven't even got into my experiences on Die Hard or
I
Rocky or all
Right.
those are great, funny. Yeah.
There's
And
so
it's all,
many.
and the thing about it is there's so many, and they're all true. And like I have to say to myself sometimes, like, fool, like look at this shit. Like I have endured and experienced all this, but again, we go back to being bullied at 12 years
Right.
old.
Right.
Had that not happened, this wouldn't have happened
Right. Right.
right now. So
Yeah.
thy will be done, and it was done, and yeah, it's crazy,
It's
but yeah,
amazing. Well, yeah, as
wow.
someone who's been bullied and you got to take it all in, you got to just, those moments definitely suck, but then you push through it, you persevere, you overcome, and look at you now. So our show is an 80s nostalgia. We talk about, things from the 80s that bring us joy. Was there any music that you listened to in the 80s that you used to like either work out to or really be into?
A song called Painted Love. You ever heard that song?
Of course I have. Yeah.
something about that song, Tainted Love and Jump, Van Halen.
Oh, Van Halen's Jump. Yeah, of course.
Because Benny and I, we helped choreograph. Benny trained David Lee Roth, and I helped.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh, I didn't know
which
that.
I have stories, about that. The night my best friend and I, we ran a club in the '80s, the late '80s in Beverly Hills called Max 151.
Okay.
And the night I had David Lee Roth come there. I don't know if I could even say it on here. It was a shit show. But anyways,
Maybe you should.
like all these things, but it was Halloween 1988 or 89. 1989, something like that. David had just got a brand new Mercedes and he painted it in skulls, all skulls.
Okay.
So, and we just got done training, and he says, because I've been telling him, I want you to come to the club. So he came to the club and comes in, and everybody's, oh, David Lee Roth is there. So the owner of the club, it was owned by what was it? This record label. Runs up, Dale, your guy David's in the back. You got to go back there. So the table, they were all glass tabletops. And here David is with 15, 20 girls with big mounds on the table.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, I go, David. He goes, I'm David Lee. I'm like, no, you got. He goes, you can't. I go, no, you can't. You got to get. He goes, well, I'm going to leave then. I go, you got to leave. And he put it in there, got a party bus, took 15 girls, and they went back to, because he lived off of up above Barney's Beanery off of Sunset
in West Hollywood. Yep.
Yeah, and they all left. I mean, the stories like that, that's crazy. Like, people go,
wow.
Like that club. One night, this girl comes in, and we had open night where we let up and coming DJ spin.
Yeah,
we let this girl spin. So we're done, and we go, yeah, we're pretty good. What's your name? She goes, Demi Moore.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Which later on, I did Die Hard with her husband, which didn't go very well.
Well, Demi Moore, Demi Moore had a little run with a music career too, which was pretty decent back in the day.
She DJ'd. She
wow, crazy.
Yeah. It's just.
Well, I tell you what, Dale, that's a pretty good way to start to wrap up. It's amazing. Yeah. Wow. If and I would love to have you back on.
Please. Let's do this again. And we'll do everything 80s and early 90s. And you're gonna have to do a lot of editing, but I'm gonna make your hair go.
I bet.
When I tell you like stories, like legit stories.
I bet, dude. Thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure. Like so we talk about the 80s. That was my time. Like my daughter,
right?
She always says, Dad, I wish I would have been in the 80s. Like, yeah, you like, yeah, it was different. And I'm passionate about that, and that's my time. So,
I love it.
Yes.
Dale, you're the man, dude. I sincerely, I look forward to meeting you in person and doing this again.
My pleasure.
All that good stuff. To be continued, for sure.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Thank you so much, Dale. I really appreciate it, man.
My pleasure.